We are wrapping up the 3 steps to success and how to create change. We've talked about first step being awareness and the power of awareness, and the second step being acceptance, and how quickly maybe last week you were thinking, I don't need this step, but hopefully after listening you think, oh, I get what this will do for me. And so you got that the second step was you need to accept what's going on after you've gotten your first step of awareness. Then you come to your second step of acceptance. And today we are talking about the step that most everybody wants to take and struggles with. So today is about taking action and knowing that the first 2 steps are so crucial to being able to take the kind of action that you want to put into your life that are going to give you the kind of results that you're really looking for. So if you haven't listened to the first video on awareness or the second around acceptance, I will post those links and you will connect this to that, because it's really important that you hear that and then listen to this third step about action, because otherwise your action is not going to get you the kind of results you want. So if you have hit a lot of dead ends in your life, trying to take action and then it doesn't really take you anywhere, you end up feeling like you hit a wall or it doesn't last very long, this is for you. And again, knowing that the first 2 steps are so crucial to be able to have action that's going to get you really long-lasting change. So thank you for being here on Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women who are great at saying yes to others, not always as great at saying yes to themselves. I'm Claudia Braun, mindset, lifestyle, and EFT coach for women ready to start saying yes to themselves. And I want to remind you that I have opened up some time on my calendar for the end of this week and next week to spend some time really having a deep dive conversation on how you can really put these into practice in your own life and get the kind of clear results that you are looking for that you may not have been experiencing so far. So the link is below, and do take advantage of this because it really is the key to your success. If you've been floundering, not getting the kind of results that you want, I know how easy it is to keep doing the same thing and then thinking you don't understand why it's not working. And I also know the power of bringing in someone, me, who has years of experience assisting others to get results. And I know the strategies that I can support you with will take you to where you want to go. So do take advantage of that. All right, let's talk about action. And so I was thinking about the conversation for today, I wanted to really look at what action is in this practice of these 3 steps to getting the kind of results you want. And what it is not is it's not reactive. Because frequently I hear when I'm working with somebody, they tell me about what they've done before our work together, and they said, oh, I wasn't feeling well, so I started doing a bunch of things, but then I didn't stay at it. So when you get into that place of you don't like how things are, you might think, I just need to take action. So you start taking action, but then it fizzles and it dies and it doesn't produce fruit. It doesn't last. You know, it's like the seeds, they say, that just get put on the sand, it just blows away. So that's what happens when you take action that's just reactive. So the difference between what we're talking about is really taking action that gives you roots. So when you're taking reactive action, you can guarantee you will not get the kind of results you want. In fact, the reactive action is going to usually take you to what you absolutely do not want. Because when you're reacting to something, you're just saying no to it and pushing it away, which is the opposite of what we talked about in acceptance, which is you accept how things are so that you can get to a place of being able to take action. And that's the power of acceptance. When you truly come to a place of acceptance, as we spoke about, you come to a place of surrender. You need surrender to be able to take action that gets you results. And that's what today is about, is taking action that is free of reactivity, that is free of resistance, that is free of being combative, that is free of being in reactivity to something that somebody else has done. So that's the difference. You can be taking action, but what is the motive behind your action? And when you have really taken the first step of awareness and gotten super clear on what's going on, and then come to a place of acceptance, of letting go of your resistance to what is, even though you don't want what is to be the way it is, you come to clear acceptance. And it takes the time it takes to get to that place. It's not because you notice it and think, okay, I'm just going to accept it. It doesn't usually work like that, right? Acceptance works in you so that you can develop that place of internal surrender of, okay, true letting go, true releasing the situation from your forcing a solution. And that's the difference. Because when you're taking action, having taken the first two steps, you're not forcing a solution. You're taking action that is inspired. It comes from your internal knowing of, no, I know this is what I need to do. I really understand my situation. I have clarity on it. I have acceptance about it. I understand what's next. And not only do I understand it, I'm willing to do what it is that's necessary to do. So there's an internal shift within you when you take action from this place. And there is a kind of laser-focused clarity when you're taking action from this place. Action that has taken the two steps before gives you freedom to respond. And as I mentioned earlier, if you haven't taken the steps, you're reacting. And the opposite of reactivity is responding. Responding means that you've actually gone inside. You've done the internal work to get a real answer. And that requires a pause. It requires a suspending action. And that's not easy to do, because if your mind is wired to get results and think you can just force solutions, you don't want to pause. The last thing you want to do is pause. You just want to keep going. And my friend, that is exactly what you don't want to do to get the kind of results that you're really looking for. Pausing, I say, takes courage. Pausing takes internal fortitude, strength. Pausing is a willingness to really allow yourself to have stronger will over your reactions. It's easy to react to something. I'm sure you've experienced it in your life. Somebody says something and you just react to them, and later on you think, gosh, why did I say that? That's a react, and you know the consequences of that. But when you truly respond, you truly go inside and you really consider, what do you want to say? What do you want to do? How do you want to handle the situation? You feel the internal, this is right. This is the right thing to do. And then you find that you are absolutely lined up for that which you want to achieve. You will find that working with people perhaps who have been difficult will be so much easier, because you will internally know how to handle the situation in a way that doesn't cause more reactivity. Because there's such a thing as, when you're reacting, you guarantee the other person's going to react to you. And then you just create a more combative situation. And when you come from a place of responding, or clear action, inspired action, you actually can diffuse a very intense situation with your presence, with your way of being. Because you know that when you come into a situation thinking, okay, you're coming in for a fight, well, you're going to get a fight, right? You're reacting to somebody, they're going to react back to you. And so it really is about the warrior within you, like activating that warrior, that courageous part of you who can respond from a place of internal stillness and clarity to take the kind of action that gets results. So we've talked about weight loss as an example, and I would say that here as well, right? You're out in the world, you're offered all kinds of things, treats, packaged goods, things that are greasy, things that are fried, things that are drive-thrus, all those things come into your world, right? When you're reacting to something, say you've had a bad day, you're feeling angry, you're feeling frustrated. In that situation, food's your thing, you're most likely to go for it. If you're drawn to sweets, you're gonna have something. If you're drawn to greasy food, you're going there. If you're going to a drive-thru, you're a drive-thru person, you're going there. So that's a react. But when you've cultivated this internal sense of pause and allowing yourself to really think things through with clarity, you've taken the first step. You have the awareness. You know, okay, these situations kind of trigger me. I don't make the best choices when I'm feeling this way. You have the conversation with yourself. You have acceptance. You think, okay, I'm in this place. You say to yourself, is this going to take me closer to where I want to go or further away? And you say to yourself, no, it's not going to take me closer to where I want to go. I go through the drive-thru. I'm going to feel crappy after I eat that. I go and eat the stuff. I'm going to feel really bad, physically and emotionally, and I'm going to be mad at myself. So you talk yourself out of it. But you see, you needed that pause before you took the action. You don't do those first two steps. You don't get the awareness. You don't get the acceptance. You go right into, oh, bad situation, emotional, food. There's no pause. There's no internal dialogue going on. Same thing happens if you have a difficult person at work. You don't do all that work prior to it. They walk into your office, you have the conversation, the same conversation you've probably had in different versions, and you do the same thing. And then they do the same thing. And you think, oh my God, here I am again. And then you think, God, they're so hard to work with, or they're so difficult, or they make my life so horrible. You see? And in that place, when you have the same old, it's very easy to feel sort of victimized by the situation. It's them. Well, we all have difficult people in our life, and it can feel like it's them. But we are also the common denominator. It's them and us. So in that situation, it's the reminder, oh yeah, this person causes this reaction in you. And you have to kind of go to, okay, they are not the easiest person for you to be around. Accept that. There are people in our lives that are like that. And once you get to the place of, okay, how am I going to work with this situation so I don't create the same scenario and I don't feel as bad? Because that's the thing, is you do this work because you want to feel good. You want to feel happy. You want to love your life. Because I guarantee your life wants to love you. And the more you do the internal game, looking within, the more you will, quote unquote, win the game. And the winning the game means you're happy. You feel at peace. You don't feel a victim to life around you. When you feel a victim, know that you're off track in your mind. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not a judgment. It's just a reminder that your mind is focused on the wrong end. Reminding yourself, who are the people? What are the situations that cause the greatest difficulty for you? Because that's where you need the greatest amount of pause. And I know personally, I know from clients, it can feel like, oh my gosh, there's no pause time. It just seems like things happen instantly. It's like it's happening so fast. I get it. And that really is the time to, before you even go into the situation, is to really, really give yourself time to quiet your own mind so that you can step back a bit. And I would say sometimes action means you do nothing. That is an action step. When you clearly decide to do nothing, perhaps a text message comes your way or an email comes your way and it feels like, oh my gosh, they're just baiting me. They might be. Not intentionally, but it's the opportunity to take a pause, step back and go, wait a minute. How do I really want to handle this? Know that when you wait the minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, you come to a clear decision, choice, response. And that's all that's asked for here. You don't have to do it perfectly. You're going to make lots of mistakes. We all do. But it's beginning to shift this from a place of reactivity to response. And my friend, it's a process to go from reactivity to a response. But it's worth the process. You deserve to give yourself permission to go through it, because there's so much value on the other side. So to wrap things up, we are talking about step 3, action. The first 2 steps, awareness. Second step, acceptance. Today, it's action. The 3 A's to successful change. And you need all 3. Any one of them on their own, just by themselves, will not get you to where you want to go. Awareness is so crucial. And then you need to move into acceptance. And then from that place, you're ready to take clear, laser-focused, guided action. So thank you for being with me today. It is a delight and a pleasure to be with you. I am Claudia Braun, Mindset, Lifestyle, EFT coach for women ready to start saying yes to themselves. Thank you for being on Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. Podcast for women ready to start saying yes to themselves. I look forward to being with you next week. Don't forget to take advantage of the offer to set aside some time for yourself to have a conversation with me. Let me help you walk through these steps and put into practice in your own life so you can get the kind of joy, happiness, clarity of mind that you so deserve. Bye for now, my friend. See you soon.